Hey guys, I hope you're having a good day, or at least decent given the circumstances we're still in together here in quarantine. But at least today the sun is shining, so we can take solace in that for a moment, I suppose. But anyway, without further ado, I'll jump into today's lesson. So I was asked to discuss a little bit about the element of suspense in these last two short stories you should have read, the Cask of Amontillado and The Most Dangerous Game. So, suspense is a plot element that authors often use to create this ominous and foreboding feeling within their stories for the reader. So, they kind of use this as a technique to create tension, right? To create tension among the characters, to create tension in the reader. They want the reader to feel uneasy because the whole point is that it's kind of scary and creepy, and the stories are often much like a horror, right? Just like the Cask of Amontillado and The Most Dangerous Game both have these elements of murder in them, right? Because we have a murderer in both stories, and they're both the main characters. They're after these people, and without any true motives. But anyway, so the most important elements of suspense that we see in both of these stories are the way the author creates the setting. The setting is set up where it's kind of like it's dark and ominous, and they're very strange settings. They're kind of scary even. I mean, in A Cask of Amontillado, they go down into the catacombs, and I don't know if any of you have ever had the chance to enter catacombs, but when I went to France last year, I went into the catacombs of Paris. And they're very creepy. They give you a very strange feeling inside because it's just a bunch of bones all around, and it's damp and it's dark and there's no daylight, and it's a strange feeling. So it's actually the perfect setting and creates perfect dark imagery for the setting of the Cask of Amontillado. And then also the setting we see in The Most Dangerous Game is creepy because it's uncertain. They're out in this jungle, and it's dark and you can't see anything, and even at the beginning of the story when when the main character is still on the ship, he is talking about how he can't even see 4 feet in front of him, and that's terrifying, especially when you're trying to escape someone who is out literally trying to murder you. So that's one element we see in both of these stories of suspense, because the author is able to create this scary setting for us, and we can picture in our heads how terrified we would be in that situation. So we know much for the main characters is that they're also terrified of what's happening to them in these places. So we have this dark imagery, and then also oftentimes in stories that use suspense, we'll see dramatic irony. And I know we talked about dramatic irony when we were learning about satire, right? So it's this element where the reader knows what's going to happen to one of the main characters, but the characters are still kind of unaware of what's going on in the story, to them, right? So we see this in the Cask of Amontillado when Fortunato is being led down these catacombs, and the other character turns to him and is concerned so much about his cough, right? He's so concerned that, that cough, we shouldn't go down here where it's not okay for you to be sick because I don't want to make you sicker. And Fortunato says it's okay, I'm fine. And the other character replies that he wishes for him to have a long life, but as a reader, we already know, as this plot has unfolded, that he's planning to kill Fortunato whenever he gets that final moment and that final chance. So it's just ironic in all of the senses, because he knows that he's going to kill Fortunato. We know as readers that he's going to kill Fortunato, but Fortunato is still in the dark about what's going to happen, figuratively and literally. He's in the dark, down in the combs. Anyway, so we have that element of dramatic irony as well. So thus far we've explored the elements of setting and irony that are often used to build suspense in stories. So oftentimes you'll also see elements of foreshadowing in stories, so much as like what we just talked about with the Cask of Amontillado. There's a lot of foreshadowing in that story, and just like we set the example we used of Fortunato being told that he's wished to have a long life, it's ironic and also foreshadows for us that he is going to die towards the end of our story. And then also in The Most Dangerous Game, there is plenty of foreshadowing as well, as we meet our general, and he is discussing how he had bored of the game of hunting and he needed something that was a creature that had reason, and a creature that wasn't so instinctual and easy to kill for him. And this foreshadows that he is going to kill our other main character, or attempt to murder him at some point. So those are just two examples, but there are many others that I'm sure you have encountered within reading those stories of foreshadowing. So thus far we have the imagery created for us in the setting, dramatic irony or other uses of irony, and also foreshadowing, which are three major elements that are used in suspenseful stories, such as the stories that you have read. So we can also discuss kind of this like escalating tension and impending danger upon the characters. Those are two elements as well that are used in both of those short stories, and they create this feeling of suspense for the readers as well. So there are some elements that you can explore as you read other short stories, or you watch even a horror movie, which are great examples of times when the directors or authors will use suspense in their stories and their media to show their viewers and their readers that there are plot elements kind of escalating, and they want their viewers and readers to feel uneasy. And we know that element of suspense in those types of medias. So now I've kind of laid out that explanation for you, and as you explore further in these short stories, I hope that helps you think of some of the elements that we are exploring.